Welcome to one of our last classes. We're doing a slow stitching, seed stitching embroidery class tonight. We're doing figs with some scrappy and fabrics and some yarn. So it's all a hands-on class tonight. I've sent an email with an attachment for the pattern. If you haven't gotten that, just send me an email after the class and I will send you out the pattern, the list of instructions. And so let's go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and switch my camera to the overhead. And let's see, we need, okay. Sorry, I had to turn on the lights, overhead lights. First of all, I wanted to show you this book we've got in our collection. It's Rebecca Ringquist's Embroidery Workshop. And she has a lot of techniques and things for you to do, plus a lot of projects. So I'm going to get people in from the waiting room. And then it talks about the thread and then our stitches. And tonight we're doing running stitch, a lot of running stitch. And as you'll see in the handout, that's mostly what we're doing. The seed stitch we'll do in the middle of the fig that's open and along with some French knots. And then we're going to do some couching stitches too. This book is available for checkout. It just talks about all different kinds of embroidery. It's a really good beginning book that we have at the library, and then there's some projects in the back. Okay. So let's go ahead and begin. Oops, we've got one more person coming. Okay, so we'll set this aside as reference. Now here is my inspiration. This was a gal from Wattle and Loop. And it's just a beautiful kit that she puts together. So I encourage you, if you're done with this one, to go look at her website and order one of her kits, or look at her tutorials, her YouTube channel. She's on Instagram, and this is where I got it. So we're gonna have fun today. This is a very loose interpretation of it. Hers is gorgeous, ours isn't as well. The fabrics just aren't as unique as hers, but it's fun. So you may want to do this again with some retro fabrics, I think would work really well. Different, maybe Liberty of London little prints, calico prints, that kind of thing. So the very first thing we're going to do is you're going to put down your background. Now that includes a square, the yellow square for the right hand fig. And then we have another shape, and this is just freehand. We don't have to make this big at all. It's just grounds it. It's like it's giving it a shadow of a piece. And then I'm using this kind of drapery fabric for the other piece. Now she's got this little pointy off to the left on both of them. So that's what I've mimicked here. And I'm centering it kind of on the bottom third, right on the bottom third line, because what's going to happen is we're going to have our two figs sit right on top there. It will cover up quite a bit of it. So all of you got a glue stick. And all you have to do is just put some glue on there just to tack it in place. Okay. Now this dries clear, even though it's purple, it dries clear. And it's very easy to sew through, so there's no problem there. Okay. So all of you have dark purple. I know this looks like blue on the camera though. So what we're going to do is we're going to exaggerate some C shapes, some really long curved lines. to do the outline of this. Now, see, we've got to get 2 whole figs out of this. So I'm making this quite narrow. It's just the outline, kind of like in a coloring book. So do you see that? Just like that. Or we could do it the other way, like that. Okay, we're going to continue to do that. We need to make these shapes. They're these teardrop shapes that we're looking for, pear shape. This one actually comes in a little at the neck, very graceful looking. And so this probably would work better over here.
Excuse me, Debbie.
Yes.
Can you give an approximate idea of about how large the finished item is going to be?
I can measure it. Okay, it is 10, your fabric is 10.5 inches tall. And the fig is about 4.5 inches.
Okay, thank you.
And width-wise, it's about just over 3.5, and this one's under 3. Okay?
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Everybody has probably different sized scraps that they're working with. And so if you don't have enough purple to do the whole shapes, we'll be using the other purples and reds to finish our shape. So that's my one shape. Okay. And then this is my other shape. And they touch, they actually overlap just a hair. Okay. And then I just need to do coming up and around. And right now we're just laying it out. It's just, so I'm going to put this guy down at the bottom. I'm just going to cut him off and make him part of the circle. Then I need him to turn in. I'm gonna have to cut this in half. It just is not turning like I want it to. So there we go.
Hey Debbie, can you slide the example up just a little bit so we can see it? Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. Now right now I'm not gluing any of the purple down, okay? Right now we're just cutting shapes and we're getting ready to fill it in, okay? And I'm just placing, we're just gonna make sure we've got it all filled in the way we want. Okay. So then, I don't have any more of the dark purple, but I have some of this. This I'm going to use for the green, I'm going to use for the stem, but I can use this purple to fill in. So I'm just going to start again cutting C shapes, just curves. What I'm looking for is a way to fill this in. Now the left-hand side is a full fig. This side, the right-hand side, is cut open and we see the cut edge. So all of you may have different fabrics or more fabrics than I have. I just have kind of leftovers from the kits I put together. I've got this purple here that I'm just going to try to get a big long C shape out of. Over here, I don't need any more purple. On the right, we're going to do a white, and then we're going to do orange and yellow in the middle. So basically, I'm just placing these where I think I can fill it in. Then I'm going to do some purple and white. To me, this is a highlight, and I may hold off and use this at the very end. Can
So
you guys hear?
Can we see the finished product one more time in color? Because I'm thinking we're doing the purple on the left and the brighter colors on the right. Oh, okay.
Right, so the purple and all the purples and the purple and white, and then we'll use red and pink over here. Okay. This one on the right is the cut one. We're going to do purple, and then we're going to do the white, and then we're going to fill it in with yellows and oranges. Okay, so one side's red and purple, this side's yellows and oranges. Okay?
Okay, got it. Just needed a picture of it.
Yeah, if you didn't get the printout, if you don't have that, it's hard to visualize for sure. Yeah. Okay, I'm moving on to reds. And you know, the reds don't have to be so much as a C shape as maybe a pea pod shape is a good explanation. Kind of like that, because you're filling in now these empty spots, okay? And we don't really have to go around so much in a curve as before. So I'm separating my colors. I want the oranges for the other one. I can use this dark red here.
And you're not gluing anything right now, you're just making your design.
No, because we have to move it all off and do it in layers. Oh, so right now I'm just cutting it all and placing it.
Okay.
And just getting everything how I like it. And see, I want to move this purple now. It helps me to cut all these pieces because then I can see what I want to move. And honestly, when you pick it up and move it, it changes too, so you don't even have to worry about that. Okay. Now remember I said that we'd be using this purple and white kind of as our highlight. This is our reflection on the outside of the fig. So I want this one last stripe just to be right there in the middle. That's kind of temporarily how it's going to look on the left. And now I can move on to the right. And honestly, do not worry about having it placed specifically where you think it needs to be, because it is going to get a little messed up when we move it up off of our thing. We just want to make sure we have enough pieces cut to fill it in. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is start doing a circle of white. Well, it's not really white, it's yellows around this right hand fig. So for this first layer, you do need kind of a C shape still. So I'm cutting right through that. We'll see where that gets us. We want to just go all the way around our fig.
Is that a double?
Double. No, it's a single.
Oh, it's a single.
Yeah. So see how this goes, just the natural curve of the piece I cut doesn't really follow the curve of the fig. It's going off of the edge, and that's really easy to remedy by just trimming it. So you'll look at it and you'll say, okay, see, I just cut off that much and then it's back inside the frame. So it's really easy to keep the white going. Down at the bottom, we'll need a little bit of a curve. Right there. Now remember, these edges are going to be covered up by the orange, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm particularly looking at the outside edge only of the white. Or yellow, I should say. So do you see how it's working its way around there? And then I just fill it in with the oranges. There's lots of oranges, so I just need little pieces of each color. These can be any shape because they're just going to crisscross over each other. And if one side it just doesn't fit, just put it over on the other side, turn it around and put it over there and see if it works better on the other side. I've got a pinked edge on this orange fabric, and I'm just going to leave that pinked edge showing. And then it doesn't take much to fill it up. So as far as the stems go, they are out of this tie-dyed, hand-dyed fabric, and they're green. And all I'm going to do is make I'll move my paper, my sketch here. I'm gonna make 2 stems. So one's like this, and it's got 3 little stems like this. Okay, oops. And then the one next to it, it's just got 2. So that's what I'm cutting out of here. I'm just gonna freehand it. And if it ends up being in a couple pieces, that's fine. It doesn't have to be exactly like that. And like I said, we can piece it together. So I'm just gonna go in and do the center. And then I'm gonna come out and do another petal. And then the stem. You guys hear my dishwasher beeping at me?
Yeah.
Well, it should be quiet in a minute. If not, I'll have to go press the button. Okay, so then just try it on for size. Okay, so that's 1 petal. And this other one, I like this green right here, so I'm going in here. So I don't know, that's pretty close, not bad. Okay, so I will be putting that one right there. Okay, so I'm going to pause the recording. A minute. Okay, so we're going to divide our strands, our 6 strands into 3 parts. You're going to work with 2 pieces of floss throughout the whole project, and that gives you 3 times the length of the strand. So that gives you a lot of more mileage for your floss. Knot it at one end and go ahead and thread it. It can either be yellow or orange at this point, it just doesn't matter. And then what we're going to do is move our figs up off of here without damaging them too much. We're just scooting them off the edge, right into place. Okay, did you guys see how I did that? Just took the paper and mushed them. Okay. Okay, so if we look at our inspiration, see how she's done stitches kind of curving down? Should we want to go across in a curved motion, do a few lines over here, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows over here. She's gone off the edge and into the background fabric a little in both sides, okay? So that's what we want to do. Now we know that the figs are going to cover up this part, so there's no point in sewing above a certain level. So I would say about halfway. You can certainly stop after you get halfway. So I am going to start about right here. Okay. Now what we're going to do is what's called a running stitch. And if you guys need, I put it in the handout, but a running stitch is where you come up and go back down a little space ahead. And you can cheat by going in and out, in and out, in and out, all in one thing. You don't have to do, it's very easy. You can go like this and keep going as long as it's, you can fit it all on the needle and then pull it one time through. You don't have to do one little stitch at a time. And that's a big time saver, especially in this when all of it is running stitch, okay? By the way, this is called slow stitching. It's a new movement that's happening, a resurgence of handicrafts during the pandemic and also just before that. It started before that. Slow stitching is being mindful and taking time and just sitting and just enjoying the process. So I'm going to enlarge this, move the camera in so you guys can really see this running stitch. And I want to show you now, it's really obvious if you do big stitches, you want to just do little, you want to do as much underneath as on top, and that helps it be even. See, I've got 3 stitches on there. I think I can fit one more. And I'm going to come up and pull it through. Now, usually you have to distribute the fabric back out and make it smooth. Okay? We're going to continue that. We don't have to draw any lines. We're making our own mark and how we want to do it. I'm going to start to curve down and come off the fabric. And I unthreaded my needle. Did you see that curve that I'm making? I'm going to take one more stitch. I'm going to take one more stitch off of the fabric. And then I'm going to come back up underneath and go back the other way. So right here, and then I'm going to come space it over a little. And then I'm going to turn my work and back up the other side. And I'm just running parallel to the other stitches. This next time, I'm going to come down and I'm going to space it over. I want to put a yellow line in between these 3 lines. So I'm jumping over here and I'm going to leave a big space. This will probably be just enough thread to come down to the end. See how it gathers up and you just need to straighten it out? Be sure you go back on the back side and tie a knot before it gets too short. So I'm at that point and I am a real trickster when it comes to knots. I can tie a knot with just a little bit of thread by going in backwards. So to tie a knot, you have to go through it twice. So this is a half knot to go underneath and then go through the hole. That's just half of the knot. I'm going to do it, go underneath again, and then I may be too short to go through, but if I stick my threaded end through instead, I can pull that and see. It knots it just fine. So I can get away with you going pretty close to the end of the thread. Okay. So we did one. I'm going to continue going. It's just really easy work. I'm going to jump over to this one now and do a line of orange over on this, the left hand big. So I need one more strand of thread. And I'm sorry, I should have given you guys more thread. I thought this was plenty. It just turns out that it's pretty skimpy. If you've got regular thread, you'll be able to use that on the couching, you know, stitching the yarn down. That will be a place you can save on thread. And then also, if you don't care what colors are where, you can use scraps all over the whole piece, and it works great. Okay, so knot the end. And again, I'm just going to come down. I'm coming down just with some curved lines. This one might show, this bottom row, so I'm just starting right back here at the edge. Then I'm going to go off the edge, probably 2 stitches this time. So just like that, one of the rows is done. Hard to see it on this print fabric. But I'm going to start here. Run back the other way. Again, I think this might show, so I'm just going to go all the way to the end. And then I'm going to come back out right about here, in the middle of the yellow. I'm kind of keeping along this line here. And then this time, I'm going to go straight out. Let's see how far this takes us. Barely to the end. Again, make a little knot. If you don't have enough to make a knot on the back, at least go underneath. So again, I'm short, but I'm going to go back through with the eye of the needle, and I can cheat that way. Go underneath again. Okay. Okay, how are you guys doing? You staying up with me? I'm gonna pause. Okay, so go ahead and mute yourself again. We're gonna just go on with the yellow. This time I've got, let's take 2 strands of the yellow and do a couple of rows in between these oranges. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to do it 1 row in this second one in. And I'm going to make it go out beyond the fabric. Okay. And I'm just going to knot that. I think that'll be good. I want an odd number. I'll knot my thread again and move over to the other side. This time I'm going to do the one that's closest to the bottom. I'm going to go in between the 2 orange rows, the bottom 2 rows. Okay. Okay, now we're ready to glue. I'm gonna wait till everybody's ready to do that with. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna place our fig back in place and glue it all down. First of all, we're gonna start with the purple round. We'll glue that in place and stitch it down so that we have a good base. And then.
Hey, Darren.
I'm sorry?
It's Beth. I'm going to get off because I was trying to sew, and with my, I'm left-handed, but I did a lot of things with my right.
Okay. So we're moving on. We're going to be building on our fig, and we're just going to place the purple rings back in place where you had them. And you can now adjust it according to your stitches where you want it placed finally. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to do the other side too, the other purple. Mine got totally messed up.
Mine too.
I knew that because I tried to be careful from the time before, but that's okay.
Do I want them up? Do I want them like a 1/2 inch from the material, or I mean the line, or
Oh,
how
it can
far?
overlap. I have mine overlapping the very top of the line.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to cover up. You want to cover it up a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
As I recall, I didn't have enough purple. Oh, maybe this is good. There we go. Okay, so see how I have it kind of placed? So all I'm going to do is I'm not going to move it. I just want to bend it back and do a little dab of glue on it and then push it back in place. And what that does is I can tack all the way around. I can put this piece in place. This will hold it in place until we do the running stitch around it. Then I'm going to do over here. Remember to overlap your figs. They need to be touching side by side. And you can bring in a piece of paper to run it on there. Yes.
They can be one large and one small, or they can be the both same size.
Oh, they can be different sizes for sure.
Okay.
Yes, my right one is about 1/2 inch smaller than the one on the left. Okay, before we go any further, we are going to stitch these in place. And the way you do it is you take 2 strands of the purple and you're just running down the length of the fabric strips. What you want to do is concentrate on staying on the outside edge, because the inside edges are going to be covered. And the outside edge, it will be flapping a little bit if you aren't close enough to it. So, I need to look for my thread again, or my needle. a problem. Oh, there it is. I put it up in the tape, a roll of tape, to make sure I saved it. Make sure you knot your end. Okay, this is just a real easy running stitch. We're just going to follow along our line. I think the hardest part is getting started. You see how I'm just running close to the edge? We want to do that because 1, the stitches will show more, and then 2, because the inside edge is going to be covered with fabric. Move. That one might have been too short to do a knot. Okay. How are you guys doing? Now we're going to be gluing the centers of all of these, but we're only sewing through them once. So we'll be sewing through a lot of layers going forward after we've done this outline, which makes it a a lot easier a lot quicker also. Okay, so I'm headed on the second side. I think Okay, I'm coming up around the last side of the purple. I may run out of thread, and then I will just substitute a piece of red in there if I don't have enough purple. We've got, or you could do blue, doesn't matter. But we're going to be doing a lot of red on this fig, so I'm fine using red if I run out. Like I said, I misjudged the amount of floss that we would be needing. Oh, I am going to make it to the end. Yay. I'm gonna knot it. Okay, so I will wait for everyone to get to this point with me. Okay, so our next endeavor is the funnest part. We're gonna start, we're gonna leave this one alone. We're gonna work on the one that has the white center, and we'll just start laying that down and gluing it. So go ahead and get your scrap piece of paper ready, and your white pieces, yellow pieces that are your outline. And we'll just start putting that on. And if you are not gluing, then all I would like you to do is you can just lay that down around, place it, the white where you want it, and then go ahead and start, well, you'd have to stitch it, I guess. I'm not stitching, we're not stitching ours yet. I must have put it on this side. So do you see how I just kind of glued that right in the middle? And then you're just going to start gluing the rest of the pieces in place, okay? So remember then to leave the white exposed, and then you're going to just lay down the other colors. You're going to leave a little lip of the white showing, because that's kind of the rind, I guess, of a fig. Although I don't think a fig, the skin on a fig is really thin. So kind of, this isn't true to really what a fig is. Nor is the leaves. Fig leaves are very big. Okay. So you will do the same thing over here on the right with your purples and reds, but we're not going to do that right now. The next thing I want to do is stitch around the white, and then we're going to do what's called a seed stitch. Let me show you what that looks like. There's the couching. The couching is what we're going to take this fancy yarn and you're going to lay it down and you're going to bring your thread over in various widths. You know, every once in a while you'll do an overhand over the thread. So this does not go through the fabric. It's your embroidery floss that will be looping over the thread, if that makes sense. And we'll do that. You guys get to choose where on this yarn you want to be on the fig. And you also have the option of trimming all these yarns off. I trimmed mine down. If you can see, I went really close to maybe half an inch away from the edge and just trimmed off the really long threads. To me, they just got in the way of the yarn, of the fig. You couldn't see the shape of the fig too well. You're more than welcome to leave them, and then if they bother you after they're on there, you can trim them once they're sewn on. But I just know that I wanted to take them off ahead of time. So I'm kind of giving it a haircut. You can see that before we stitch it down. And I think I want to do some of this red. I'm going to have it multicolored. You could go around, you can have it wrapped twice so that you get all the colors in the yarn, or you can pick out just your favorite colors that you want on there. I am getting ahead of myself because I came across the couching page first. Okay, so I've prepped my yarn. Let me see if I can find the other 2 stitches we need. Yes, here we go. We're going to be doing a double knot, or French knot it's called. And I've always done 3 times around the needle. This calls for 2 times around. And you just hold that thread around there close to the edge and go through with the needle, and it actually forms a knot in place. So those are going to be our seeds inside the fig. And then let me see if I can find the seed. And here's the seed stitch. The seed stitch is just random short little running stitches that you go every which way. You can pair them together, but they look the best just moving them randomly around. So that's what we're going to do inside on the orange. We're going to do the seed stitch, and then we're going to do French knots, and then we can stitch around the white with our yellow. If we have, yes, we have yellow left. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go ahead and take 2 strands and stitch around our rind there. We'll knot one end of it. Again, it's not necessarily to stay right on the edge of this one. We did that for the purple. I'm just running anywhere I want on the yellow.
Which stitch are you using now?
Just the running stitch.
Okay.
I'm just doing that because the whole thing, the whole white area is going to be exposed.
Yes.
There's no way to tack that one down, so.
Right.
Okay. Okay, now I'm just going to start in the middle, and I'm going to do my French knots first, and then I'm going to, actually no, I should do my stitching first. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take, I think I'll do my light green. It's a little bit different than everything. So it'll stand out on the orange. It'll probably look like white actually on the orange. But that'll look good. And then I'll use my blue. And you guys have different color blue. I ran out of the same color, but I'll do this blue French knot. And that'll really stand out. And you may want to do red French knots. You might want to do green French knots, whatever color you want the seeds to be. And honestly, I'm sorry?
Does it matter the color? Does it matter the color of the seed?
No, it doesn't matter. No, in fact, I was just going to say that once we put the yarn on, it's hard to even see the French knots and all that. Okay, so I'm going to do seed stitching, which is just like the running stitch, but you're just going to turn your needle and go a different way with every stitch. So it kind of goes squumpus, random, all the way, all different ways. Can you see that? Maybe not yet.
You come up.
You come up. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Let me see if I can get that in there. You come up, and then you just go back down anywhere you want. And then the next time you come up in a different place, not even connected. It's just very, very random.
Okay.
What you're looking for possibly is to make sure that each piece of fabric is anchored with some stitches somewhere.
Okay.
Because that's really what's keeping the fabric in place is these stitches. The glue's great to keep it in place, but who knows, if you hang this on your wall and there's no stitches there, it might fall off. So do you see how random I'm going with this? It's just every which way. You almost could do a zigzag, kind of. Background noise. Okay. So, what time is it? 7:30. We're gonna get done with the yarn, and then you'll be on your own to finish the left-hand side. The left fig by yourself, probably.
Once we're done with it, will you post it for you?
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
Okay.
Now, if you wanted to, you could take all 6 strands of the blue and do your French knots, and they would pop out a little bit more. And I might do that. I don't think I used the blue last time. I'll show you what that looks like using all of the strands. Just do one right here in the middle. I love French knots. Now the way I do it is I take my needle and lay it down on my fabric. Then use my thumb to hold it in place. So then that frees up this hand to wrap it once, twice, and then I'm going to pull it down and I'm going to hold it there, hold this thread while I retract the needle and put it back down right near the same hole, not in the same hole, but right next to it. And see, that gives you a lovely little French knot. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's actually pretty in blue.
It is. So I'm going to do another one over here in the orange. You might be able to see it a little bit easier. Again, lay it down on the fabric. 1, 2, pull your needle back. Oops, pulled it back too far. And then you can pull it through. What you want to do is keep that twirling thing that you went around your needle in pretty close to the fabric at all times. Then that ensures a tight French knot. So 1, 2, I'm hanging on with the thread in between my fingers, and it's going to go straight down. Okay. Jump over here. 1, 2. That time I got a little far away with my knot, so I can just squish it down before I take the needle all the way through. Otherwise, there's a chance of it loosening up and you lose that beautiful knot. It becomes a real loose thing. Here. So I'm just going to use this thread until I'll just keep making French knots till I can't make any more with this thread. Which might be just 2 more. 1, 2. And I'm kind of staying away from the outside edge of the orange because honestly, the yarn's going to be there. And where it's going to be seen mostly, the French knots will be in the center. So that's where I'm doing most of it. Oops. Okay. So that's all that thread allowed me to do. Again, I apologize for not sending a bunch more thread with you guys. Okay. Now I know you guys aren't ready for this. You're probably still doing your French knots. And that's okay. Oh, we still need to do our stem. That's that stem. Maybe we should do the stem before we do the, oh no, we do the yarn and then the stem covers the ends of the yarn. That's right. Okay. So let me show you. We're going to take the end right here, come around, and come back up. But we aren't cutting it until we get back up to the other end. So we're going to just start here. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got green. I have green stitches that is holding. This green thread is what's holding the yarn down. all the way around. Okay? So here we go. I'm just going to loosely put it down. And I'm going to flip mine. I think I want the red on this side. The reason being there's red fabric over on this side. Okay. Green. Again, it doesn't matter what color, it's going to be hidden. It's just that I got lots of the green and we only need a little bit for the stems. Okay, so we start at the top, underneath. Again, it's going to be right on the white line, between the white and the purple. And you don't want to try, you want to keep the threads that stick out pretty loose. I mean, you want them free, you don't want the embroidery floss to hold them down. So try to clear out of the way and just tack down the yarn, not the, what do you call it? The stray things. See, I just did it. Let's see if I can get those out.
You want to keep the tiny strands up. Okay, I get you.
Yes, exactly. You want them to be free floating and they'll cover up the green yarn embroidery floss too. So that's helpful. But I just go on one side and then I go back over right next to it and hopefully not tack down too many of the free floaters. Okay, I have about 2 more stitches, maybe 3 more stitches. I'm trying to get the yarn to be together at the top, and that's where I'll cut them so that they can be tucked under the stem. Actually, I've got green thread. I may as well just do the stem with this dark green. Okay. Then you just trim these ends. Now this is the one that has just the 2 stems on it. And so you want the yarn sticking below it, if that makes sense. Okay. This is just random stitching. You know, a lot of people do blanket stitch, but we're not that. This is more junk type of stitching, you know, just very carefree. So it's just a bunch of little stitches around the edges, and you're trying to catch all the edges of the stem. You're not worrying so much about outlining it with a blanket stitch. I do want to hold it in place while I at least make the initial. I'm going to go right in the middle just to anchor it. Down. What I'm looking for is, the problem about is you can get too close to the edge and then it kind of shreds the fabric. So you have to be careful about not doing that. But at the same time, you want to just be far enough into the edge of the fabric to hold it. So I'm kind of having to manipulate it with my fingernail to come through the needle. I mean, bring the needle up through the thread, the fabric. That didn't make sense. You have to work a little bit to get the needle where you want it to come up through the fabric. That's what I wanted to say. So you can see I've got little red threads. I'll just kind of tuck those under as I go around. I'm pretty much working from the center of the leaf out.
Okay, you're working from the center to the way out different, like, are you going to the right after that, or are you going to the left and coming to the right?
It doesn't matter, but I'm going to the left consistently. I'm going counterclockwise around it. But okay. I am going off the fabric. I'm going in the middle of the fabric and then off the fabric when I go down.
Okay.
Can you see that? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going up in, kind of in the center. And I'm going down on the outside.
Okay.
And then at the end, you just want to go You can go off the edge at the end and almost come up in the same place again, but this time you're going to go to the side. You see how that goes? So you're just tacking it around. Kevin, hold on. We've got cows in our backyard and they're not supposed to be in our backyard. They must have broken through the fence. So I had to tell Kevin to go, and it's lush green grass and they're just eyeing the green grass, of course. So we have a split rail fence that goes around and they're trying to get, and they get their horns stuck through the fence. And then they break in and steal our grass.
Funny.
You should see him. Oh my stars. They're running. He's gonna just break down the fence. Oh my stars. Okay. There's not much out there for them to eat right now.
No, it's too much. It's too dry right now.
Yeah. Okay. So I had to rethread. And then okay. Oh, it looks like he got him out. We have a gate back there that they probably unlatched somehow. Sometimes they'll break one of the rails off, push it out of the fence posts. Okay, I am about back. I've gone all the way around that stem, back to the center. I know it's hard to see, first of all, through the camera, but then also these yarns are in the way. But see how I just messingly tacked those leaves down? I mean, if you look at the back, you can tell it's just a mess.
The front looks okay. I think.
I think it adds to the charm.
For such a small stitch that you're doing, it looks pretty good from here.
Oh, thanks. Well, it adds to the charm. If you look at the original, let me show you real quick. See, look at her crazy little stitches.
Yes.
So she's gone all the way around and done just crazy little stitches.
Yeah.
And you can do that to embellish it and make it. I just kind of randomly went around the outside.
Right. You were just trying to get us to show us, and okay, I get it.
So you can be decorative You can take this
Okay.
into a lot of decorative stitches. Like she did, this is a seed stitch where it is side by side seed stitching. So you can go up each little groove of the fabric on the purple and red side and just embellish it with embroidery, and it's really pretty. Look at the pink right in there.
Yeah.
Thing, you know, and then this busy little stitching right here.
Right,
So
right.
on this side, you can play more with the stitching. This side, it's going to get covered up mostly with that yarn. It's really hard. You can see where she did yellow French knots, orange French knots, and red French knots. So, and then her fabric had these little dots. She didn't do those little dots. Anyway, so that's it.